have, and I wanted that for myself. My twin sister and I actually. So we applied for University of Ibadan, and I applied for economics because I was the best student in economics in my class. Finishing yeah. So I was sure that I'm supposed to do economics, and my teacher was preparing me to do what he was doing. So that was really why I applied, because I was good at it. But when the results came out, I had 50, and the school mailed me and told me my score wasn't enough for economics. I needed 53, and I had 50. And so they told me to apply for sociology. And at that time, the girl that just finished secondary school, I didn't know what course that was. I didn't know what sociology meant. So I was supposed to write a letter to the VC of the school, the vice chancellor, asking to be changed to sociology, but I didn't give my attention to the letter, so I just applied shabbily and waited. I didn't get any reply till today. A year after, in the middle of the year, my sister and I were hoping they would call us, and when they didn't call us, that insisted we pay for another exam, another university exam, but we were exercising our faith, so we didn't pay. So we just waited, and my mom said, well, why just wait? Why not learn a skill? And that's where my mom comes to play. My mom has really been a very strong backbone. Yes. So my mom said, why don't you stay at home and just wait in faith? Faith is good, but do something while you wait. So we went to learn computer as a skill, and then that was for 3 months. Shortly after that, I went to learn decoration, and my twin sister went to learn tailoring. And it will surprise you that I handled my wedding decoration, my brother's wedding decoration, my other brother's wedding decoration, and any decoration you see, I do. Yeah, thanks to mom. So that was where my skill journey started. I started learning the skill. Don't forget the story about sociology and economics. Just keep that in mind. I'm going somewhere with that story. So while we were learning that skill, we wrote another exam for university, and this time around, Dad said we shouldn't go to the West because we have, yes, Nigeria is one Nigeria, but when it comes to education and politics, we also, apply some tribalism. It's just deep-seated, no matter how you try to overlook it. So that said, we should try applying for universities in our side of the country, in the east or in the south. So we applied for University of Calabar, and by then my colleagues were already in year 3 when I applied for University of Calabar, and I had 254 in my JAM. That's the central exam for in Nigeria. And then in the school exam, I had 360 over 400 for economics. So I was purely on merit. In fact, I was number 1 on the merit list. And some things happened, and we waited till January. I didn't get a call from the school, but I confirmed my name was on the list, but I never got a call. So January that year, my friend called me and told me that her school had called them and what's happening. So I talked to my dad, and mom, and myself, and my twin sister traveled all the way to Calabar. You can check your Google and you see the distance from Aba to Calabar that day. We drove to Calabar, and Dad was so furious, and he was making a case out of it because he knew this wasn't right. I mean, I'm the number 1 on the list, it's clear. So why is she not being called to start up her clearance process and all? And my dad started making a case, and he was looking up on the door, looking for anyone who had a name that looked Igbo, like a similar name, so someone who can listen to our case. And he saw an AK, EKEH. But that wasn't actually an Igbo person. It's just that the South, he lived on the boundary. So his forefathers answered Igbo name, but he wasn't Igbo.
Sandra, let me just say one thing. Igbo is their tribe. So it's
East
African tribe.
Oh,
and it's also
right?
Ashley, Google. Okay, Ashley.
So sorry. So when he walked up and he went into the office and was like, please, I'm looking for Mr. AK. The man was like, who are you? I'm Mr. AK. He now explained the story to the man, how I scored high, I'm the first, but the man now told him, okay, I can take you to someone who can help. And he took my dad and he took my dad alone first to the formal HOD, that's the head of department of economics. And the woman, after listening to my dad, they called me in and she was like, young lady, are you the one that wrote those exams? I said, yes. She said, fine, if you wrote the exam, then you can write it again. I just started crying. I was like, ma'am, I can write it again, yes, but this is, my colleagues are already in year 3 and I'm in year 1.
Another 1 year.
Yeah, so I was already turning 20. Why would I be writing another exam when I'm clearly the one who should have this? So the woman calls the admission officer and tells him, so there's a lady in front of me. These are the kind of students we're looking for. She was good. She's really good. Is there any course? The issue, the later economics department said that why they didn't call me was because my subject combination was not what they required for me. I was supposed to write English, mathematics, commerce, and government, while I wrote English, mathematics, economics, and government, while I wrote English, mathematics, commerce, and economics. I didn't write government in my JAM. That's the Central Nigerian exam. And I wrote that because that was the training we got from our secondary school. Yes, the government gave us a brochure to read, but I didn't get the chance to get the brochure because that was within the time I lost my brother. So we never picked up that brochure. We weren't really ready for the exam. So I wrote it anyway, and I didn't feel the right subjects, and so I missed that up. I didn't feel government, and so that was why they didn't take me. So the woman calls the admission officer and tells him that, would there be another department that can take me in without government? And the man said, yeah, we have departments like sociology. And there where I sat, I was like, that course again. Yeah, I was like, I've heard that before. And she said, we have sociology. The admission officer said, we have sociology, we have social work, we have public admin and business admin. And she said, okay, I'll call you back. Let me ask her what she wants. And in the woman's office there that day, there were like 10 master students she was teaching already. And she now asked them, she asked me, what do you want? I told them, I don't know any of these courses. So maybe, she asked my dad. My dad said, let them help us. So the 10 master students, there's like 6 persons went for sociology and 2 went, the remaining 4 shared it between the other courses. And my father was like, he goes with the highest, he goes with them. And I said, okay, I go with them. And that was how they called the admission officer and told the admission officer that I would like to apply for sociology. And immediately he put in my name, and I was now given sociology as a course. And as I was leaving the office, I googled what is sociology. Very funny. Since 2 years, I didn't find out. But why I told that story is because all my plan was, let's just enter sociology. Along the line, I would.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Through all this process, is the government going to pay for you, or you're going to pay for yourself?
We pay for ourselves in Nigeria. We pay everything. All the exams, you fail and write again, even if you pass, nobody
Even
takes
when you
care
have
of you.
passed highly like that?
Nobody cares. I graduated best graduating student in the university. Until now, nobody has given me a call to say, oh, do you want to work with us? Yeah, that's how Nigeria is. One, because I didn't school in the eastern part, I schooled in the south. So, and besides, nobody cares. I mean, they pay for this thing, so they can't just hand it over to you that way. Yeah, so that's by the way. Anyways, I collected the admission in sociology with the hopes that after my year 1, I would swap to economics, because sociology and economics were in the same faculty. Man, like sociology was upstairs and economics was downstairs. So my plan was, I'll just start. My CGPA would definitely be high enough for me to swap. But then that woman who got used to give me that admission, she later turned to my foster mom and my guardian and my counselor and mentor, and she told me, even if you swap, at the end of your schooling year, in your final year, when you go to do your final clearance, they would also require that government from you. So you still have that issue that you had at the beginning. And I was like, let me just do the course. So I was studying the sociology, but I wasn't too happy doing it because I wanted to be an economist. I wanted to work in stock exchange market and wear the red jacket and count money. But I didn't know why I wanted to do that until one day, while we were in class, my lecturer, she's late now, she was teaching, the course was social work and social problems. And she was telling us how that we can turn our problems we find in the society can become projects that we can take up. And for me back then in school, I go with my jotter, my notes, and a diary. So while she was talking, it was like God started talking to me. You see, this thing she's saying is for you. I started penning down stuff, and he was telling me that all the problems you see about the girl child and the female, you can actually turn it to a project. So I started writing those things down in my diary, and I went back and I discussed with my sister. We talked about name and we started bringing up ideas, and that was how Pillar Girl Foundation was birthed in sociology class that day. And so I realized that that was why God wanted me to do sociology, because if I were an economist, I won't be doing this. I won't be working with the girl child.
Wow.
That's right.
So that was why I told that story. Long as maybe I told that story because of that, and so we started working with. I started working with the girl child from, like I said, in the morning from 21. Immediately, I realized what God wanted me to do. That was my year 2. I first went into secular positions in the university. I was female leadership president, like the head of the females in the hostels, and all of that. I was just trying to find exactly what I want to do for the girls. I didn't just want to be in the spiritual office, because growing up as a pastor's child, any good work you do, everybody thinks, because your dad is a pastor. So I wanted a place where nobody knew me, but I would do the good work I want to do. So I was just doing the secular job and doing it well, and still nobody knew that I was doing it because I was a pastor's child or I was a Christian. So that was how it started. And then after I finished my secular offices while in school, year 2, I came back home and I was wondering, the holiday was too long. I said to myself, I can't just do all of that in school and come back and do nothing. How about we just do a street skill acquisition training where I can train the teenagers in my church and on the streets, and the teenagers on the streets, outside the streets, and just in front of the church. Yeah, in front of our church compound. And I gathered 2 of my friends. One was good with the fascinator, and one was good with she wasn't really good with food production. I taught her what to teach. So I told her, you're going to teach them this. Just help me teach these young people this. And so the 3 of us, we and my sister, we gathered children on the street and we taught them that. That was July that year. And then in November that same year, we now gathered schools to come, and we had, the first year we had 100 schools participate in the skill acquisition. Yes, because it was free, by the way. So young persons want to learn skills for free. And the skill acquisition training lasted, we do it 3 days every ending of the year. So we started writing out to schools and tell them that we want them to send their students to us for free so we can teach them. And when they come from school directly to us, and we feed them while those 2 hours they are with us. And we try to also talk to them about purpose, talk to them about the self-discovery, because even though what we are selling is skill, it's more like a bait to get to them, just like Pastor Sammy was talking about. We know what they want, but we know what we want to give in the end. We want to talk to them about God, we want to talk to them about discovering themselves. But if you say that, they won't come. But if you tell them you're coming to learn makeup, every girl wants to learn how to draw her brows. If you tell them you're coming to learn how to make Ankara shoes, and they will come. Now what we do is, before we teach them all those Ankara and makeup, we would have a time to talk to them, talk about purpose. And you know that you can't talk about purpose without talking about the God who gave you the purpose. So in the long run, we bring in God into the picture, and we have counseling classes. And then when we are done, we now break out into your different classes where you now learn your different skills. So that's how we started at Pillar Girl Foundation. So I'm cold. And I remember that year, we didn't even have money to get bottled water for our facilitators. I won't forget. My dad takes bottled water because of his health. So what I did that year was I gathered the empty cans and I refilled it, and I corked it up so well so that you have to struggle to open it and be sure that you will know that it's not packed.
Yes.
And I remember that day my dad was like, why are you setting paper? I'm like, don't worry, you'll soon see. And he was shocked to come back to church in the evening and find the whole place filled with students. And then the next day, he bought the bottled water himself, and he bought the stuff, and that's how we started. And the second year, you can start running the slide, man. Okay. And then the second year, we've actually run. That's the first time the street outreach I talked about. This is the first. Okay, this is the second year. So this is the second year where we gathered, and these are the skills we teach them. We get young people who are already skilled to teach other young people skills. You may not, they may not want to teach them everything in full because they pay to learn the skills, but you give them something to make them want to come back for more. This is the cooking class, and that's samosa. Okay, so these are volunteers. We have more volunteers than this, but most times they're all doing something. So we just gather the ones that are free at the moment and snap. Anybody from any university, you just want to teach something, you want to do an impact, just come and teach them something. If you can't teach, you want to, counsel, just come. You want to do, ask, just because, and I remember in the first year, one of those girls walked up to me and told me that her brother almost raped her. And then you start finding out that we are not just teaching skills, we're also getting to hear things that these children have never, these teenage girls, by the way, sorry, they're not children, they've never told anybody else about. They are actually looking for avenues to, express this. And my mom, again, a very strong pillar. That's where we have, my mom always worked with the counseling team. But sometimes they don't want to talk to the older people. They want to talk to young people like themselves. With the people that are on the genes and all. So they feel they can be free with you. And then when they tell you that, you now refer them back to the old ones because we are always busy doing the run around and all. So along the line, we had to. You can keep on this line. Along the line, we had to expand to do other things because it cannot just be secondary schools, because secondary school, they would leave secondary school definitely, and we need to reach out to other persons. And that was how we started street outreaches, rural outreaches, going to villages. You see them here. This is the street outreach, rural outreaches, and other means and avenues to reach out to the market outreaches. I don't think that one is here. And then Christmas cloth project, that's one I really love so much because in Nigeria, Christmas cloth is a thing, if you know what I mean. Although it's not a thing for my family because my father made us know, man, your clothes are fine. If it's nice, it's nice. You don't need a new one every Christmas. But for many persons, every Christmas they need a new shoe, they need a new clothes. And you find that girls will do anything and everything to get new stuff. I mean, they can sell their body just for the new clothes. So we came up with a plan to give them new clothes. They may not be all brand new, but at least people haven't seen it on their body before. Yeah, so it's new on their body. So we gather, we go and tell people. Some of our volunteers contribute shoes, clothes, and we, like what Veronica wants to do, we display it more like a boutique. You come shop for free. The picture is on my phone. You come shop for free. Just pick whatever you want that you're going to use and you're sure you would like. And that's the Christmas clothes project. And then we have the rural outreach where we go to rural villages. It will surprise you that what we know in the towns, girls in the rural villages don't get that exposure. They don't get that understanding that we have. I think that was informed when I was serving my country in a rural village for 1 year. In Nigeria, after your university education, you have to go and serve the country compulsorily for 1 year without pay, because what they give is not pay. Yeah, without pay. And unfortunately for me, yes, because I thought I was going to go to a better place, but God wanted to teach me something. So I was dumped in a place where there was no light for 1 year. I didn't see the bulb, and there was no network. So I slept every night in the dark, alone, in a room, and all of that. And you can see the deprivation in that rural area. You can find that these things I know. My problem was light, but these girls, their problem is more than light. They don't even have the light in themselves, not to talk of the bulb. So that was what informed, that was why I added rural outreaches to part of what we do, because I can now see firsthand what these people go through. And I just knew, oh, this is why God allowed me to be dumped here for 1 year. And that's how we added it. And then we also run online trainings and discipleship for people who are in different areas. Like Nigeria, like I told you, we have the east, the west, the north, the south. So we have people from different places chat me up from time to time. I want to join, I want to be a part. So we have online trainings for them, to connect everyone. And I remember just 3 weeks ago, I was praying and I told God that I want us to go into the north, because there's a whole lot happening in the northern areas, and the girl child there needs to be helped. And I prayed that on Sunday in church. And on Monday, someone chats me up and tells me, my name is this. I would like to volunteer with you. And I checked, she's a northerner. She's schooling in the north, and she's really from the north. Like, that's where her parents are from. And I felt she was joking. She tracked my number and came to WhatsApp and continued. And I was like, wow, God, is this really how you answer prayer that fast? Well, when it comes to impact, God really is fast. Yeah, because He's very interested in souls and all the rest of it. So I feel this way I'm going to end. I feel what's one thing that is unique about Pillar Girl Foundation is what we want to do. We don't just want to give these girls food and sanitary pad and clothes and shoes. Those are beautiful, by the way. We want to help them discover purpose, because I believe that if you find out who you are, then you can start doing something for yourself and become better. You're not just collecting, you are now giving back to the society. That's what God actually wants us to do. So that, I remember someone asked me, what's different about your NGO from the rest? I said, nothing much. There's the thin line. The thin line there is the purpose we want to help these girls discover. Because any guy can walk into your life and say, sleep with me and I'll give you money, if you've not discovered purpose. But if you've discovered purpose and you know yourself, you cannot just trade yourself for money or for any luxury that would come up, on your way. So I think that is one unique thing that Pillar Girl Foundation wants to do and achieve for the girl child. And then we also want to support education of the girl child, because there's a lot of smart girls, brilliant girls in Nigeria. Seriously, I must tell you, especially in the tech world, there's a lot of girls who want to do tech, and many of them they are in school, yeah, but they're really struggling in school. Parents, when you have 6 children, how do you take care of the ones in school? So they are struggling to be in school. I remember just 2 weeks ago, one needed a textbook, and it wasn't easy for me to give her that money, but I had to, because I might just be her saving grace from temptation, you get. So that is, I think these are the 2 things that we want to do in Pillar Girl Foundation. We want to help these girls discover purpose, and we want to help them become self-reliant. That's why we teach skills, so you can stand on your own and help somebody else. That's our selling point. And the anchor scripture God gave me when all of this was coming to play was Psalm 144, verse 12, where the Bible says that our daughters will be as pillars fashioned in the palace style. Yeah, so that's where we came up with the name from. That's where the name comes from. Pillar girls, girls who are supposed to be pillars of their nations, pillars in their families, and representing God wherever they find themselves. So you're free to be a part of Pillar Girl Foundation now that you know what we do. Thank
you.
I remember too, Sandra, that there's a verse in the book of Revelation, I think it's the 3rd chapter, that those who overcome, Jesus says, them I will make pillars in the temple of my God. I'm sure you know it, but it's a blessing as well. Tricia had a phone call, so I want to ask, if I may, we're going to close tonight so we can all rest. And it's been a busy day, lots of technical difficulties for us too, but by God's grace we're capturing what is happening. But I would like to hear from just a few of you, what impacted you today? Because we had Sister Jacqueline with her beautiful presentation, we had honoring by our mom from India, Mom Salome. We heard from Brother Sammy, Brother Olson, Yeshua. We appreciate the ideas that were presented there are not just a testimony for himself and for God, but they're also a model or an example. I caught some things myself and I said, those are good things, the way God had led him. We were laughing before because, we just, some people say, oh, you're doing such great things. But then we were laughing because, you just kind of show up and the Lord pushes you into sociology. And you really have no choice and you're not so wonderful because you chose such an excellent, and so often we're able to be just who God made us to be and be blessed in that. And what a blessing. And so who else did we hear from today? Tonight we heard from Sandra. And also this guy was preaching about the moving of the Holy Spirit and how to learn. So I would just like, did I miss anybody that we heard from today? That was it. Okay, thank you. So Daniel, before you fall asleep, what really impacted you today? Do you have anything? We spent time even together. Okay.
From what you said today about hearing that feeling from the Lord speaks to you, he was, I guess, I never really realized how many pastors admit they don't know how to hear the Lord when they speak to them. We always want to know how that is.
Yeah.
The way you explained it to
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So anyone else, let's go to Emmanuel here. Brother Emmanuel, of all the things that you heard today, pick a couple of things that impacted you, please.
Good evening, everyone. I was greatly impacted by the teaching from Pastor Orson. It really inspired me a lot. So many of the things he talked about, I have sat and thought, how can I be a part of this? And he gave so many intelligent, witty invention strategies. And I just was like, this is it, God is speaking to me.
Yeah.
And also, so when you shared a lot of things, just like Brother Daniel said, leading, you speaking, you made it so much clearer. It helped my understanding. And you also mentioned how we should trust the Lord and to take up the responsibility that God has put in our hands. And so many other things. So those are the two major areas that I want to really feel with.
All right. Pastor Mary, is there something today which really impacted you, something comes to your memory from whatever we heard today?
Actually, I am well impacted by today's ministrations, in both from all that spoke today.
Yeah.
I was blessed through your administration and also through Pastor. And one of the things that I received today is that when Pastor Austin was speaking, I received the insight that if you want to reach a soul, you don't start immediately telling the person about Jesus. You can gradually coming closer through gradual process. You come into the life of that person before you now begin to share the good news fully to that person. So, and when you minister today, I also receive a revelation.
Amen.
How the Lord spoke to you and your obedience.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing for the Lord to speak to you and another thing to obey. Yeah. So if you don't obey, no matter what He says, it won't benefit you. So I am really blessed today. Praise the Lord.
And then Brother M1, Emmanuel Asegi. What impacted you today that you'd like to share?
Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, I myself, I would really want to say I was really impressed with Brother Isaiah what he shared. When he said that at times not all about getting the Bible, especially when it comes to the youth. Because a very practical example is like when I look at what brother said, they adjust to the kids. When you're with the kids, at times, like, kids are very playful, Sometimes, like, when you bring out, like, the Bible, some of them are sleepy, some are, But again, I learned from Brother Osley, I'm like, okay, to really get a kid's mind, There are ways of playing around with, like, them, You start slowly. Because at times, like, if they're from the class, they're from reading books, like, now you bring in the Bible, then they're like, oh, here we go again. So at times, you start small with those small stories, like, So before you know it, you have already captured that kid's mind. He or she knows what to do.